I owe nobody an apology.
How many times
I
would
owe
they tell
nobody
you?
absolutely an apology. They lack integrity. They are men of straw when it comes to integrity. They are men and women whose words you cannot take. If you have spirits manifesting in you, and the two spirits is that in the morning the person wakes up and is manifesting as a man, in the afternoon he feels he's manifesting as a woman, you need deliverance. The bill, we will pass it to the glory of God, and we will pass it to shame the devil. Here the devil is symbolic of all the forces.
Who is the devil?
All the forces, international and local, that are fighting. Africa needs a crop of young leaders who are Afrocentric in their thinking and who will say to the West and Europe, we would stay, hold our own, trade amongst ourselves. We will only trade with you if you are willing to come and negotiate with us as equals. This whole capitulation, this whole sense that we are inferior, that we are incapable of managing our affairs, it is that hypocrisy of African leadership that is leading to a revolution in the younger generation of Africans to say, these old folks have had their day, they've had their say, it's our time to take our...
So, hello everybody, welcome to Awini TV. Whatever you may be watching me from, whether you are watching me from Nigeria, Cameroon, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Zambia, Malawi, Burundi, Mozambique, Mauritius, Angola, Cape Verde, Togo, Benin, whatever you are watching Awini TV, you are very welcome. I'm going to be sharing with you a very interesting things right here. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to Awini TV and let's grow together. Those who may not, maybe you are not familiar with this gentleman, Mr. Sam George. Mr. Sam George is a member of parliament, MP for Ghana. You know, the reason why today we're going to talk about Mr. Sam George, you see, as African youth, we need to rise up. I always tell you that sometimes any leader that trying to make sure that they speak, trying to make sure that they put things together and make sure that Africa will become how we all want, whatever part of Africa, the West will always come against that person. The reason why and their plan and their everything is to keep Africa where it is so that they can able to enjoy, then Africa will still be there. And I will show you some interesting videos. After also, we'll be listening to some of the things that Mr. Sam George always talk about. So whatever you are watching, subscribe, share this platform to many places so that we can come together. Before I will move on to show you some of the videos, let me share something with you. The reason why the West always able to overcome some of our good leaders like Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of Ghana, leaders like Thomas Sankara, Burkina Faso, leaders like Patrice Mumba, Congo, leaders like Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, leaders like Robert Mugabe, leaders like Jacob Zuma, name them. Leaders like Juliet Malemba, all the reason why they always overcome this is because we are not united as Africans, and that is our biggest problem. It is a time for us to come together as youth. It is a time for us to come together as Africans and see ourselves as one people. You see, the West are very smart because the West get to understand that as Africans, we do not really love each other like that. We see ourselves that, oh, I'm from Uganda, I'm not from Tanzania. I'm from Tanzania, I'm not a Kenyan. I'm a Nigerian, I'm not a Cameroonian. I'm a Ghanaian, I'm not from Cote d'Ivoire. So what happened is when they want to take down of some of the good leaders, they go and use our own people to go against that leader so that they can able to bring that person down. So what happened? We need to unite. When there is a love with each other, we love each other and we see each other as one, it will be very difficult for someone to come to you and say, well, you need to take Awini TV down because you love Awini TV, so you will not agree and do it. If I have love for you, my brother or my sister watching this video, if someone come to me and say, well, I have to go against you, I will not go against you. Why? Because I have love for you. But the reason why we always do overcome us is because of the way we do not love each other and we are divided. And it is a time as youth for us to come together and speak out and support people like Mr. Sam George, support people like Mr. Yoweri Museveni, support people like Julius Malema, people that want to see Africa rise to the up there. Why do you think that the Western world, they unite? When you live in Spain, you do not need to get to Germany and using different money. You have document in Spain, you go to Germany and nobody asking you anything. You go to Italy, nobody asking you anything. You are in Italy and you have Italian document, not even Italian passport. Italian document, you can go to every Europe country with nobody stopping you in the border. But Ghana is just close to Togo. It is difficult when you are going to Togo. Sometimes you can't use Ghana money in Togo. Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire is close to Ghana. It is always difficult. My first time being in Cote d'Ivoire, they disturbed me for laissez-passer, and those who've been in Cote d'Ivoire, they know what I'm talking about, laissez-passer. You do not need to worry as a Nigerian when you are in Ghana. But some Nigerians are in Ghana, they cannot go some certain places because they do not have Ghana card. There are some Ghanaians in Nigeria, they cannot go some places because they do not have this and that. There are some Kenyans in South Africa, there are Ghanaians in South Africa, they cannot do some certain things, they cannot go places and feel comfortable because they do not have document. Why it have to be like that? Why it have to be like that? See, all the whole plan is the Western really want to keep Africa where it is. Let me show you one of the videos, then you will know that if we don't rise up as a youth, everything agenda is to keep Africa poor. Listen to this man before we continue to Mr. Sam George video.
Africa, historically, sub-Saharan Africa, has been fundamental to the global prosperity of the advanced countries. And Africa had a role to play. It has a role as a raw material producer. We will not allow sub-Saharan Africa to escape that. Okay, we do everything to keep sub-Saharan Africa where it is, also impoverished. It's absolutely vital for the prosperity of everyone else. So let's get clear about that. Okay, and this means all the economic structures, all the global institutions, and the economics we teach everyone is all designed to keep Africa exactly where it is.
You think so they're wise?
So you see, you can listen that by yourself. It is so sad. They are teaching their people set up way that to keep Africa where it is. So sometimes I feel sad that people that say they are going to UK for education, they are going to America. What are they going to teach you? That is what I'm proud of. The Gambia young man, Osman. That is why I'm proud of this young man. He will refuse to study in upside. He said no. He believe in Africa. He believe in Gambia. That is why I'm proud of that young man. So there is nothing in the West. I always say the only way the West will speak truth or maybe try to sponsor someone when they know that they can able to manipulate you. So let's go and listen to Mr. Sam George. Some of the messages, some of the things that he normally says. Where you and I, we need to come together and support people like this. So let's listen to Mr. Sam George, and after that, we continue.
Statistics that have been given to you guys at your communication meeting that you guys have been vomiting all over the place, it does not wash. We are not unintelligent. We know what it is. So it is the irresponsibility of the leaders of our country. When the president and his vice are living like Arabian knights and kings and leaving the rest of the population to run on a shoestring budget, there is austerity. They are cutting the budget of ministries that provide social services to the people of Ghana. But the Office of Government Machinery has increased its budget.
Not be juju be that.
You must begin to question where the problem is. Is our problem really the IMF for the people who are leading us? And don't underestimate the power of the forces of Ghanaians when we say we will shut down those businesses. It is, look, if they want to threaten us, we'll issue threats. And I'm issuing that on your platform. If they touch the speaker or any member of parliament, we will come after their business interest in Ghana. Because, like I said, it's about our cultural heritage and the innocence of my children and Ghanaian children. And the innocence of my children will not be mortgaged for any political party. What? I owe nobody an apology.
Honorable George, are you just a hateful person who does not want people who are different from you to have a life in Ghana?
That is a defeatist approach to ask me a question, a defeatist line of questioning.
What would you do, sir, if your son or daughter was gay?
Well, thankfully, I have 2 sons and a daughter, and none of them is gay. You're asking me to go into the world of abstracts. I'm a lawmaker. I deal with specifics. I deal with specific stuff. I don't deal in abstract. Maybe you should be talking to a storyteller or something. Where LGBTQ rights are legal.
Ghana, sir. This is about Ghana, sir. So let's focus on Ghana.
Well, if this is about Ghana, then stop trying to import American values into the reasoning of Ghanaian legislation.
I am not an American.
There is a clear distinction between sex and gender. Complete distinction. Sex is a biological construct. Gender is a social construct. Sex is binary, male or female. It is the source code for even computer science, 0 and 1. To be a male, you have the XY chromosome. To be a female, you have the XX chromosome. There is no other combination known to science. However, gender is a social construct. That is why in some countries, as we speak today, they have 48 gender identities. In some, they have 100. So gender is a social construct. In this country, our social construct of gender is male and female, as our constitution demands and recognizes. So, Mr. Speaker, even the UN Declaration on Human Rights does not make gender the basis for discrimination or enjoyment of rights. It says sex. And once it is sex, it is male and female. So if you change your sex as assigned at birth, cosmetically or surgically, you are flouting the Constitution.
Wow.
I owe nobody absolutely an apology. That's the American Psychiatric Association delisted homosexuality as a mental illness. In fact, anybody who studied any of the mental science manuals, which is the DSM, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, before 1974, homosexuality was listed as a mental illness along with necrophilia, zoophilia, and pedophilia. The decision in 1974 to delist it as a mental illness was not based on science. It was based on an opinion poll of only 6,000 people. So clearly, homosexuality is a form of madness and mental illness. And what they need is psychological care.
Wow.
I owe nobody absolutely an apology. Mr. Speaker, the Human Genome Project, and that's on science. The Human Genome Project is a $3 billion funded project by the government of the United States of America, which is the biggest investigation into the human genome. This project spanned 20 universities in the United States, the United Kingdom, Japan, and South Korea. And what they tried to do was to map out the human DNA to identify the genome. Mr. Speaker, they were able to identify the genetic marker that makes somebody like me. I only smell the food and I grow big. And there are some other people, they can eat 10 balls of kenke, they won't grow big. Like Sosu. All of this is genetic. What makes you have a bald head like Okujeto Ablakwa or have an afro like Sam George? All of these are genetic markers. Mr. Speaker, the Human Genome Project was able to identify the genetic marker that makes men have feelings, emotional attractions to women. It was able to identify the genetic marker that makes women attracted to men. It could not find any genetic marker that makes men attracted to men. or women attracted to women. It makes me understand why Honorable Esla Usu did not have affections for Honorable Abina Asare, but rather found Mr. Ekufu attractive. If you put two men in a room and give them 12 months to produce as an offspring, they cannot produce an offspring.
What? I owe nobody an apology.
They serve in this country and make money from here and take back home. They cannot hold us to ransom. And like has been asked on this floor, Mr. Speaker, why is it that the American Secretary of State has not sanctioned the Secretary of Defense? Because June was declared Pride Month and they had transgender parades. The US Secretary of Defense blocked and stopped a transgender parade on a US Air Force base because he said the US Pentagon, which is their defense headquarters, would not support such activity. Governor DeSantis has passed legislation against open transgender parades in Florida. Why have they not taken on their own citizens? In fact, in 2022 alone, there were 433 actions in State House of Legislatures across the United States, banning and clamping down on homosexuality. The Supreme Court of the United States, SCOTUS, just last week, passed a landmark judgment enforcing the rights of American citizens to refuse to offer services to people on the basis of their faith and because they were LGBTQ. Mr. Speaker, it shows you that even America has realized the error of their judgment and are walking back their steps.
What? I owe nobody an apology.
Over 150 ethnic groups in Ghana, not one ethnic group accepts homosexuality as a cardinal part of that ethnic group, their culture or traditions. I challenge the gay lobby and anybody on this platform to show me one ethnic group that has embraced homosexuality. Again, I challenge them to show us any one of our 80 languages that has a word for homosexuality. In our local dialects, what is a foreign construct are described by phrases. So for example, if you are speaking about in Chi, which is a very common language that a lot of people speak, if you're talking about the computer, because the computer is a later day addition to the etymology of the Akan language, it is described as abefu efidie. It is not a word, it's a description. When you talk about telephones, again, a new construct is called ahumatrofu. We describe them. Now, when it comes to homosexuality, how do we call it? Kojoa oye ne ho te se besia. We don't have a word for it. We have a description for it.
To Almighty God, my source, my strength, my being. I owe it all to Jesus, and I thank Him for it. To my family, my wife, my 3 lovely kids who prayed for me on Friday morning before I left home.
The CDD is funded.
That's right.
They're funded by, and this advocacy, all the work they've done with the gay lobby, the so-called group of 18, they are Ghana's gay lobby. I mean, it's funded by the gay lobby and pro-LGBTQ groups in the US. They can run away from it. So let people not think that the CDD is doing an altruistic job and that Professor Gajipo is interested in doing academic research. This is financial. I have an interest.
And what's your interest?
My interest is the protection of Ghanaian cultural values and the protection of the innocence of my children and the children of Ghana.
Okay.
I've been stating categorically for a few months now that the president has checked out. The president has handed over power. I've said this before and I'm saying it again.
Why do you say that?
The Peace Council is one of the biggest problems of this country. They are hypocrites. It's a bunch of hypocrites who have sold their conscience, like the way Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of porridge. The men and women who sit on the Peace Council, if they have conscience and if they fear the gods that they say they serve and worship, they should bow their heads in shame.
They said they don't want to go beyond their remit, their mandate. They want to stay within their mandate.
It's a shame and a disgrace that men and women of that caliber have lost their balls. And that's why I say they serve no purpose and no use to this country. We have too many people sitting in positions of influence and authority in this country whose children have no connection to Ghana.
They have alternatives. I have none. And I'll fix this country as best as I can in my small way. And I hope other people will rise and fix their own small way so that collectively we can fix this country. Uganda. Uganda's economy is smaller than Ghana's economy.
Right.
Way smaller. Uganda had a president for all his wrongs. The one right thing you can say about M27, Yoweri Museveni, is very simple. He thinks that this is a mental aberration, which it is. And has gone ahead to sign a very punitive law. In fact, Uganda's law will punish you with death. Death.
Yes.
Ours is talking 3 years maximum. Day is death. There have been all of this back and forth and bashing from all the other places. The EIU projects Uganda's economy to be the 8th fastest growing economy in Africa in 2024. So the question we should ask ourselves, Johnny, is even how are we in this mess? Because it's not every government that automatically wakes up and goes to the IMF. You go to the IMF because you've messed up your economy.
That's right. You need support. You need help.
So the people who messed up the economy, instead of being humble enough and being repentant and contrite on their mess of the economy, are rather being braggadocious and telling us that but the economy is messed up and the only way to fix the economy is to sell the innocence. The only thing we have left is the innocence of our children. We are selling it for 700. They have collateralized Get Fund, collateralized NHIS. They've collateralized ESLA. Now they are going to collateralize for money the innocence of Ghana's children and Ghana's cultural heritage. Is that what we want? The mental health concerns and the cost to them for taking care of their mental health is growing. The young, I don't know how to call him a boy or girl, because he transgendered, who went into a classroom about 4 or 5 months ago in the US and shot up 22 children.
Yes, I remember that.
Mental condition from transgender. So when people say this is not a bread and butter issue, the safety of your children in their classroom, you think?
So yeah, you see that by yourself, or you listen to that is Honorable Mr. Sam George, a member of Parliament in Ghana. So people like this, the West going to come out and say, calling them they are dictators. Why? Because they knew very clearly that set of person, when they become a leader, they will not, or he will not allow them just to come to Africa and pick things. If you are living here in Europe, there's some amount of money you are taking, maybe you're living here, working for so many years, try to get them money, and you want to go back to Africa, or even you're going holidays, and you have that amount of money, you need to prove, you need to have a document to show where this money actually is coming from. You need to have all bank statements, and those who been traveling, doing business, going here and there, they know what I'm talking about. But anybody who just go to Africa and work, and at the end of the day follow back with the money and go back to their country, and nobody asking them question. That is the people asking them. That is the people. Why? Because they knew that Africa, we can able to give this to this person, give this to this person, and we are gone. We need people like this, like Mr. Honorable Sam George, Yoweri Museveni, Uganda, Julius Malema. We need people like this. That is the reason why you and I as a youth, we need to support people like this. We need to unite, because the West are full of arrogant, and they do not really want to take their I see someone that want to stand for his own people. So if you haven't subscribed to the platform yet, what are you waiting for? This platform is not just about one country. This platform standing for the whole Africa, and we will be giving you interesting videos any part of African countries. Anybody that try to stand for Africa, anybody that speak for Africa, this is the type of people who will be putting right here on this platform. With this platform cannot grow alone. This platform needs your support. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate you, whatever you may be watching me from. And one love.